Sultanates, they were also Shia, but it was never an official religion, an official madhab, till when the Safavids, the Safawiyun, came and took over Iran and established themselves, and Ismail established himself as the Shah, with his headquarters in Tabriz in 1501. The Safavids, they were actually, some people refer to them as the Qizil Bash. The Qizil Bash, that is the red heads. And they used to wear red caps, a red headgear, you know, just like some people now, they are making it their own political alignment to wear red caps. Yes, the Safavids, they were called the Qizil Bash, the red heads, because they were wearing a red headgear. But their own, the red headgear, it had 12 pointed spikes on the headgear. The 12 pointed spikes, they signified the 12 Imams of the Shia Madhab. They were originally a Sufi movement, but this Sufi movement, it had elements of the old and ancient beliefs of the Persian religion, of reincarnation and transmigration of souls. So actually they regarded Ismail himself as having a divine nature in him. That is the first, the one who established the kingdom. He made Shiism the official religion, the 12th Shiism. And because this area was traditionally an area of Ahlus Sunnah, the people following the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I will just come back to it a little later for the benefit of some, because they were the predominant religious group there was a lot of bloodshedding. Many scholars were killed, and many libraries were torched, and knowledge was destroyed, because the predominant scholars who refused to adopt, who refused to subscribe to the belief in the 12th Shiism as the official religion of the state, they were persecuted. And he did this to adopt the Shiism religion as the official religion of the state for political reasons. It was political. It was not religious. Just as his own claim, his own amalgamation of his religious beliefs, the Islamic religious belief, with the beliefs of the old Persian religion was also political, because he wanted it to be a Persian, non-Sunni empire. Why did he do that? He did that because he was faced on the West by the rising glory of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire was just about to take control of Constantinople, because few years after, in 1543, Constantinople fell, and it became the base of the Ottoman Empire, and it was renamed Istanbul. The Ottomans, they were Sunnis, and they were very charismatic. They had taken control of Mesopotamia and went into Europe with speed that had baffled the then existing world. So for him to maintain his own political independence, he adopted this as a political game. And that was the reason behind the introduction of Shiism into Iran. He expanded himself. He went into, because what the the Safavid Empire, with headquarters in Tabriz, expanded into Afghanistan, into parts of Pakistan, into Azerbaijan, Armenia, parts of Georgia, the North Caucasus, in Anatolia. They were also trying to go into Anatolia. And they went into Iraq up to Baghdad. Baghdad was under them. Now they presented a serious threat to the Ottoman Empire. And were it not for the threat of the Safavids, Islam would have reached into Western Europe. Because the Ottomans, they had concentrated in the siege of Vienna. Because if Vienna had fallen, that would have been the gateway for Islam into Western Europe. Central Europe was all part of the Ottoman Empire. But then, with the attack on the flank, on their back, by the Safavids, the Ottoman Empire were forced to abandon the siege of Vienna and to come and face the Safavids, the Iranians. This is not the first time that the Shia had worked to the advantage of non-Muslim empires, non-Muslim elements, to the detriment of an Islamic empire, of an Islamic rule. When the Mongols attacked Baghdad, one of the principal officers of the Abbasids, Ibn al-Alqami, was a Shia, and he acted as a fifth column for the Mongols. And in fact, when the Mongols, when they sacked Baghdad, and the Jews and the Christians, they were laughing at the Muslims for their defeat at the hands of the Mongol hordes. The Shia, they joined the Jews and the Christians in laughing at the Muslims, at the Ahlus Sunnah. So they were actually happy at they contributed to the defeat of Islam, to the defeat of the Muslims, or of the Abbasid Caliphate, just as they contributed to the expansion, to the lack of expansion of Islam into Europe by attacking the Ottoman Empire on their flank. This was how Shia Islam was introduced into Iran. Now the Ottomans, they had fought back and they had taken back all the lands that the Safavids under Shah Abbas had taken. And with the coming of there was a coup against them by Nadir Shah. Nadir Shah, he made a very important, he took a significant step, though political, but it had its own advantages. He was one of the people that did a genuine attempt to unify the Shia and the Sunnah, because he said, I have a sizable population under my empire. The Turkmenistan, in Turkmenistan, that is the Turkomans and the Afghans. They are Ahlus Sunnah, and they are saying that the Shia, they are kuffar, and I cannot tolerate that. And he instituted the famous Najaf conference. The Najaf conference, what did it achieve? This is very important for anyone who is looking at the current conflict between the Sunnah and the Shia, between Saudi Arabia and Iran, and trying to place it within the context of Sunni-Shia conflict. They agreed, among the principal points they agreed upon was that the best of that all the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they are upright, and nobody should curse or abuse any one of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that the best of the Muslim community after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was Abu Bakr, then Umar, then Uthman, then Ali, and that the adhan, which had been altered some 200 years earlier by the Safavids when they came to Iran, because the Safavids, when they came to Iran, they changed the adhan and added Ashhadu anna aliyan waliyullah. And when they say hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah, they will say hayya ala khairil amal. They changed the adhan. That also was rejected. So in effect, all the innovations brought by the Shiites were rejected for peace to reign. And the Shiites, they agreed. But after that agreement, their scholars, they agreed under the force of political power. Because Nadir Shah, he was a Safawi also, but because he wanted peace, he instituted this and they accepted. But then, a week later, somebody came and wrote in the mosque in Najaf, Muhammad wa Ali khairul bashar. Man radiya faqad shakar, wa man aba faqad kafar. He said, Muhammad and Ali, they are the best of creation. Whoever accepts, he is regarded as the one who gives thanks, who is grateful to God. And whoever rejects, then, and whoever disagrees with this, dislikes this, then he has rejected faith. And the whole result, the resolutions of the conference, by that token, were thrown overboard, and the conflict continued, and which is what we are seeing now. Now, Iran, the monarchy was overthrown in a military coup, and the military coup was there was also the military rule. The military ruler, he asserted himself as an emperor, and the emperor, there was a constitutional coup that brought a nationalist government, which was overthrown by the British intelligence, and they brought back the same monarch who was the father of the late Shah of Iran, who was overthrown by Khomeini. So a word about Khomeini and the revolution that brought him to power. The Shia, they believe that public aspects of religion cannot be observed with the occultation of the 12 Imam. They claim that there are 12 Imams that have been mentioned by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. These 12 Imams, they are in difference among themselves at the death of each Imam. Who is the next Imam? Because like when Ja'far died, they broke themselves into three. Some say it was Al-Aqtah who was the first son. Some said it was Musa. Some said it was Ismail, the second son. Some said it was Musa al-Kadhim. So they are in difference among themselves. Now regarding the 12th Imam, they say when the 12th Imam, he disappeared into a hole in Samurra in Iraq. And up till now, they have a man holding a horse outside that pathway that is that is an underground tunnel. He is holding the horse with a sword. He's expecting him to come out, and when he comes out, he will give him the sword, and he will give him the reins of the horse, and he will mount on the horse, and he will come straight to Medina and bring out Abu Bakr and Umar and flog them 80 lashes each of them, and also Hafsa and Aisha, all these kind of stories. Now they say, so long as the imam is in occultation, all public observance of religion must not be done. No Jum'ah prayer, no collection of alms, no Hajj under the leadership of a leader, no appointment of judges. So all public observance of religion will be suspended till the appearance of the last imam. Khomeini, he came with an innovation. He said, in the absence of the imam, during the occultation of the imam, when you have a scholar who is upright, he will be the deputy, he will deputize for the imam. And he brought the concept of wilayatul faqih, which is what he wrote in his book Al-Hukum al-Islamiyya, that is the Islamic government. It was translated by Hamid Alga, printed by the Princeton University Press. We read it in the 1980s. Hamid Alga, he made a beautiful translation of it, and it is like the constitution. It is like the ideology of Khomeini. By virtue of that, he felt that a faqih, a scholar, can take over the reins of power. And that is why now in Iran, under the constitution, it says the actual leader is the faqih, the imam. They used to call him in the beginning Naibul Imam. Then they dropped the appellate, imam. Now, most Shia scholars, they did not accept this. And they regarded this as an innovation. And Khomeini himself was not that charismatic to have that to be accepted, because he was not an ayatollah when he made this. But he was very vocal, and he was very ruthless, and he was very fearless. He used to give his own talks about this. Now the Shah, with the secret police of the Sabak, they arrested him. They wanted to hang him. And because of that, some of his students, they quickly came together and they appealed to the people of Najaf, which was the next seat, because the seat of Shia theocracy was Najaf and Qom. So the scholars of Qom, where Khomeini was arrested, they came together and they implored the scholars of Najaf to give Khomeini the appellation of an Ayatollah. Because when he is given the title of an Ayatollah, he becomes a mujtahid, a marja, that is worthy of having followers, like a mujtahid with followers, a marja. So they gave him that position as a political move, so that the Shah will not have the authority to exercise capital punishment on him. So Khomeini was appointed an Ayatollah and a marja so as to prevent the Shah from killing him, from exercising capital punishment on him. Not because of his scholarship, not because of his charisma, and certainly not because he is supposed to be a marja. That was why he was given a marja in 1963, or around about that. I've forgotten the dates. Just like the present Imam of Iran, Ali Khamenei. Ali Khamenei, he's not a faqih. His field of specialization is Persian language. And actually, his actual field of specialization is on Nasiruddin al-Tusi. The poetry of Nasiruddin al-Tusi, that is his field of specialization. He is not a faqih. I mean, like bringing someone from the Department of Arabic and say that he is going to do ijtihad. He is going to read, he is going to teach fiqh. He is going to teach bidayatul mujtahid. He is going to teach al-fiqh ala madhahib al-arba'a. You are telling him to do what he has not learned. But the imam must be a faqih, because that's what the constitution says. But he's not a faqih. Why did they do that? Because Khomeini he did not, he will not accept any dissent, any differences of opinion. His close, he had three closest disciples: Ayatollah Murtada Mutahari, Ayatollah Hussein Beheshti, and Ayatollah Hussein Ali Muntadhari. Mutahari was killed. He was the first president of Iran after Bani Sadr. No, it was after him that Bani Sadr came. After the revolution, he was the leader of the Revolutionary Council. Mutahari, he was a scholar, a philosopher. Beheshti was the first speaker. He was killed in a bomb that was planted in the Majlis. And then Muntadhari. Muntadhari differed with Khomeini over the Iranian hostages. It was a political affair. It was a political matter. He felt that there should be negotiation with the Americans. And because of that, Khomeini does not tolerate dissent. He was put under house arrest. And he died like he was put under house arrest. And because of that, Khomeini was left with no other scholar worth his salt that could be his heir after him. He was only left with Khamenei. Khamenei was not a faqih. So that was why he was appointed. And that is why up till now, Khamenei is not regarded as a marja except by people who politically are with Iran. The Hezbollah of Syria and some groups and Murtada Sadr of Iraq, Muqtada Sadr of Iraq. They are the people who are with the Iranian establishment. Even the leader of the Lebanese Shia, Hussein Fadlallah, before Hassan Fadlallah, the present leader of the Hezbollah, Hussein Fadlallah, they fell out with Khomeini over the appointment of Ali Khamenei as the Imam, because he said, you said Wilayatul Faqih, we followed you. And now you are bringing someone who is not a faqih to say that he is the imam? This is too much. And they fell out because of that. So Iran became, so this is what Iran is, a dawla of Shia, and it has its own roots, which is Persian, which it inherited from the Safawi dynasty that came before it, just as it inherited the Shia madhab from the Safavids. And remember, the Persian nationalism is still very much in place with the Iranians. And the people who are, the Arabs of Iraq, they know the difference between, they know the difference they experience between them and the Iranians. Now we come to the Saudis. Saudi Arabia it started as a dawla, and it went through three epochs. The first is the Saudi Empire, the first Saudi Empire under Muhammad bin Saud, who allied himself with a scholar who was after reforms based on the evil practices that had been spread in the Muslim lands, and he wanted to bring back people to the pure Tawheed and the pure teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they allied themselves and they established the first Saudi rule, which is the first dawla, the first Saudi empire in 1744, and it existed for about 73 years till 1817, when it was destroyed, when it was defeated by the Ottomans under Ibrahim Pasha. It rose up again, the second Dawla, 7 years later, when it was crushed by the Rashidis, the rulers of Ha'il, in 1790. And then the House of Saud with the members, they migrated to Kuwait. And then about 12 years later, they came and they took over Riyadh, and they were able to defeat the Rashidis and also to defeat the deputies of the Ottomans, who were the Sharifs of Mecca. They were able to defeat them in Hijaz, and they established the third Saudi Empire or Saudi state in 1902, and 30 years later they unified the eastern and the western Saudi Arabia to form the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with as a monarchy. And now it is actually the only real true monarchy all over the world that is not even a constitutional monarchy. It doesn't even have a parliament. So it is a monarchy through and through. But it is committed to the alliance, the original alliance between the House of Saud and the House of Ibn Abdul Wahhab. They are still committed to the same religious vision of reform instituted by Ibn Abdul Wahhab. So that is why all the kingdom is declared as an Islamic kingdom, with Islam as the state religion, and with the Sharia as the constitution and the code of law. And all religious activities will be under the care and leadership of the house of Sheikh Ibn Abdul Wahhab. So the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Religious Affairs, the leadership of the Hizbah, that is the Hayat al-Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy Anil Munkar. All these, they are supposed to be the prerogative and the right of the house of Ibn Abdul Wahhab, who are religious scholars. Even the Ifta also, even though they do not strictly, it's not strictly hereditary, because when they get a better scholar, they give him the task. Just as they appointed Sheikh Abdul Aziz bin Baz as the Mufti, even though there were other scholars from the house of Ibn Abdul Wahhab, but because he was, his scholarship was accepted by all to be a higher level, he had the respect of all the ulama, he was appointed as the Mufti. And they also had Abdul Mohsin at-Turki as the head of the Ministry of Islamic Affairs. Saudi Arabia has been committed to Islam, and it has done a lot of things for Islam. It takes care of the Hajj, and despite the fact that before the coming of the House of Saud, Hijaz was ruled by the descendants of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The current king of Jordan, King Abdullah, was a descendant of the Sharif of Mecca, the Sharif Hussein. He is his great-grandson. But the Sharifs, they left the area with no inkling of Islamic guidance. People, when they went for pilgrimage, they were always afraid they will have to do wasiyah, because rarely do they come back. Either they are killed or they are turned into slaves. It was their practice, the Bedouins, because they were very unruly. They had their guns and they will shoot at the caravan of pilgrims. And when they go and they search the pilgrim, they don't find any money on him. The Bedouin will sit down and start crying because he had wasted his bullet without getting any money. And then what will they do? They will carry the pilgrims and put them on camelback, and they will head to an oasis. When they go to the oasis, they will make the camel drink and drink and drink, so that the stomach will bulge out. And